All right, we're going to correct our Unit 7, Lesson 6. You should have watched my video doing the student-facing task statements and then done the practice problems on the cool down. Cool down you submit in Google Classroom, and the practice problems you just look over as I'm doing these and you see if you got them right. You do not have to turn them in. Remember, it's practice. So I did the lesson with you. You're practicing to see if you understood the lesson. All right, so on number 1, on the number line, plot okay, just making sure my pen works. On the number line, plot and label all numbers with an absolute value of 3/2. So 3/2 is equivalent to 1 and 1/2, right? But it's also, so you can put 3/2. It's also equivalent to 1.5 and 1.5. Okay, and the absolute value of 3/2 is -3/2, which would be here, and you're gonna, that's 1.5, negative 3/2, and -1.5. So all of those should be plotted. Number 2, the temperature at dawn is 6 degrees Celsius away from 0. Select all the temperatures that are possible. So it would be -6 and 6, B and D. Number 3, put these in order from least to greatest. So remember, it's the absolute value. These. So this is 1. And this is 2.7. So it's actually going to be 0, and then the absolute value of -1, which is 1, and then it's going to be 1.3, 2, and the absolute value of -2.7, which is 2.7. Remember, distance. So if it has those brackets around it, you have to do whatever the positive way would be. All right, number 4. Elena donates some money to charity whenever she earns money as a babysitter. The table shows how much money, D, she donates for different amounts of money, M, that she earns. What percent of her income does Elena donate to charity, or show your work? Explain or show your work. Sorry, I'm distracted. My daughter's leaving. Okay, so what percent of her income does Elena donate to charity? Explain or show your work. All right, so we're doing percentages. So we want to know the percent of $30. Let's do the even one here. The percent of $30, that 3.6. Okay, so we have 30p, 30% is equal to 3.6. So we need to get p by itself, so we're going to divide each side by 30. And 3.6 divided by 30 is 0.12. And then remember, when we put the percent sign on, you have to move that decimal over. So that's 12%. So 12% of 30 is 3.6. So she donates 12%. And that should work for each of those answers. All right, so part B says, which quantity, M or D, would be the better choice for the dependent variable in an equation describing the relationship between M and D? So money and donation, and explain your reasoning. So the amount of the donation depends on how much money she earns. So D is the dependent variable, the donation. However, if she wants to donate a certain amount and needs to figure out how much she needs to earn to achieve that donation, then M could be the better dependent variable. So it depends how you're looking at the problem and what your explanation is. So that one could go either way. For C, D is equal to 0.12 or equivalent. So use your choice from the second question to write an equation that relates M to D. So I said D. So D is equal to 0.12 M, which would be M is equal to, or if you did it the other way, M is equal to 100 over 12 D, or D divided by 0.12. All right, problem 5. How many times larger is the first number in the pair than the second time? Okay, so 3 to the 4th is 3 times larger than 3 to the 3rd. 5 to the 3rd is 5 times larger than 5 squared. 7 to the 10th is 7 squared, or 49. 49 times larger, or you could say 7 squared. 17 to the 6th is 2 17s larger, right? So it would be 17 squared, which is 289 times larger. And 5 to the 10th is 6 5s, so that would be 5 to the 6th power times larger, which is 15,625. All right, for problem 6, Lynn's family needs to travel 325 miles to reach her grandmother's house. At 26 miles, what percentage of the trip's distance have they completed? So you're taking 26 and you're dividing that by 325 for A, and that is 0.08, which as a percent would be 8%. For B, how far have they traveled when they have completed 72% of the trip? So 72.72. When you take the percent sign off, you move the decimal 2 places to the left. When you put it on, you move it 2 places to the right. So 72% of 325. So we're multiplying. Of means multiply. And that is 234 miles. And C, at 377 miles, what percent of the trip's distance have they completed? Well, they've gone over. So at 377, they have gone past 325. So they've done 377 divided by 325 would be 1.16. So 116% of the trip.